Hello, hello, hello. This is Gresh from the I Am CEO podcast. I have a very special guest on the show today. I have Joanna Swash of Moneypenny. Joanna, it's awesome to have you on the show.
Oh, thank you very much for having me on the show.
No problem. Super excited to have you on. And before we jumped into the interview, I want to read a little bit more about Joanna so you can hear about all the awesome things that she's doing. And recruited as Moneypenny's first salesperson in 2005, today Joanna is Group CEO of an international business that has grown to employ more than 1,000 people across continents, turning over 50 million pounds in 2020. Joanna played a key role overseeing the company's entry into the US market, as well as a subsequent private equity investment by UCI Partners in 2018 to accelerate Moneypenny's UK and US plans for expansion and acquisition. And at the heart of Moneypenny's lies a unique culture based on mutual respect and love. And above all else, when it comes to outsourced communications, Joanna believes passionately that business of any size should stick to the knitting, focus on what you're really good at, and let experts take care of all the rest. Joanna, are you ready to speak to the I'm CEO community?
I really am.
Awesome. Well, let's do it then. So to kind of kick everything off, I know I read a little bit in your bio. Could you take us through what I call your CEO story? We'll let you get started with all the awesome work you're doing.
Oh, my CEO story. I've been a CEO for 4 years now. Amazing. But I've been in this business for 16 years. So, from when it was really, really tiny, first salesperson, like you said. And now I run this most amazing business. It's got 1,000 people, both over the UK and 2 offices in Atlanta and Charleston. And it's just incredible. So I feel like I have a different job every 6 months or so. It completely changes.
Yeah, and it kind of seems like that, especially, with this past year and just in the world in general, is something that's always evolving. So you have to be very resilient, very flexible with everything that's happening. But it definitely sounds like you've had that in a role.
Oh, you do. We've got 21,000 businesses on both sides of the Atlantic relying on us to do the right thing for them, answering their calls, answering their live chats. So, yeah, we've had to be really agile and flexible over the last 12 months to make sure that people can still rely on us no matter what the environment looks like.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so important, and reliability and being able to be consistent is definitely, something that's often underestimated, but something that's entirely huge. And so for people that are just maybe not aware of what Moneypenny is, can you take us through a little bit more on what you and your team do and what exactly that looks like for your clients?
Absolutely. So businesses of all sizes across so many different sectors rely on us to look after their communications for them. So we're either the first port of call on the telephone, answering their calls just as if we're based in their offices. And that goes from huge multinational law firms and corporations down to tiny micro businesses that just want a little bit of peace and quiet and for the phone to stop ringing. And also looking after their live chats online as well, because of course the whole world of consumer communications is just changing so rapidly, and a lot of that used to be maybe over the phones, etc., is actually going to digital channels instead. So yeah, we're looking after brands' reputations for businesses large and small.
Yeah, and it's so funny. I think I just was writing something yesterday, and I was talking about how so many times people forget that your online presence is something that people know about your business, know about your brand before sometimes they even have those communications. And when they have those communications, they want to make sure that they have that alignment. So it sounds like you're the very sticky glue that's necessary to be able to connect with clients, but also build those relationships and turn them into potential clients.
Yes, absolutely. And as people's businesses have had to change so quickly, over the past 12 months, etc., I think business leaders have taken a big step back and thought, how do I need, this is my opportunity to do things differently. What tools and services are at my disposal that maybe I just wouldn't have thought about before? So, yeah, we've had a really, really busy, particularly the last 6 months, as people just really start to think, what does the future of work look like? And do I really need my office anymore?
Yeah, and and that was definitely part of, what I read about is just during disruptive times, a lot of times things get permanently shifted. And when you start to ask those questions, especially as a leader, you start to wonder, what is the future of work, as you said, but also how can we position ourselves in that brand and that ability to have that opportunity in the future.
Yeah, it just seems that it's sped up change, doesn't it? And a lot of
Yeah.
these are changing anyway, whether the people were moving to a more home working model or a hybrid mix, or look at the retailers with the growth of their online presence. Well, that's just shot up, hasn't it? It's almost catapulted them forward 5 or 10 years and just changed the way we're all working.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I wanted to ask you for what I call your secret sauce. And this could be for yourself or your business or a combination of both. But what do you feel kind of sets you apart and makes you unique?
Do you know, I think it may often be said, but I really, really mean it. Our secret sources are people and our culture and the way that we really, really look after each other. I believe in real authentic leadership. I believe in openness, honesty. There's only one version of me, what you see is what you get. I'm not a different person according to who you are. And I just think that's our secret sauce, is being able to put yourself in the shoes of other people, whether it's the people that work with you or whether it's your customers who use your services, and think, what do these guys want from me? And that's what you have to deliver. And so I just think it's getting to know people and truly understanding what makes people tick.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think so many times we think it's one thing of this, everybody wants X, Y, and Z, but we don't really look at that human aspect of business, understanding that each individual wants something, unique. And I think that as you said so well, that word brand kind of resonated with me because when you realize that the people that work with you represent your brand, you start to take care of them because you want your brand taken care of. And I think so many times we zoom past that in business.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of our complete USPs is the fact that we give, if a client uses us to answer their calls, we give them a named individual. It's not a call center approach. So my job now is to make sure that I keep that person happy and working at Moneypenny and that they don't want to go anywhere else. So actually, yeah, that's my big focus. And if I can keep the people happy, then our people can keep our customers happy.
Absolutely, and things just start to create that great snowball effect from there. So, I absolutely love that secret sauce. And so, I wanted to switch gears a little bit, and I wanted to ask you for what I call a CEO hack. So, this could be like an app, a book, or a habit that you have, but what's something that makes you more effective and efficient?
I've got a couple of ones that spring to mind
All right,
here.
perfect.
I love the saying, if you're going at a Ferrari pace, you need Ferrari brakes. Because we all go hurtling through life, don't we? But
Mhm.
actually, the faster you go, then the more you need to think about how you're going to stop. Because you can't go along in a Ferrari and then just go and apply a little bit of brake pressure, because you're just not going to stop and you're going to crash and burn. So, especially in this current environment, I think everybody's just getting a bit exhausted. Take a step back if you can, just have a break. There's a book I love as well, which is Lencioni, The Five Dysfunctions of a Team.
Mhm.
And the reason I love that book is because it talks about the room of trust, about openness, honesty, everybody in that room, a senior leadership team, being able to say exactly what they think without any kind of negativity towards them. And I think that's so important, that you can trust and be very honest and open with the people that you're working with. And I think that's the way that people can be, really, really create a scalable, effective, profitable business.
Yeah, absolutely love those hacks. And as you said, that culture that you talked about in your secret sauce, reigns true because I think, especially as leaders, you have to be encouraged and want to create that culture where people do feel confident to say what's best, for the company, say what's best for the goals to be met. And as you said so well, like making sure that you are aware that if you go fast, you also have to break fast as well too. And you have to make sure that it's a marathon and you're paying attention to those things that help us to run and to continue to move forward.
Right, that's right.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. So now I wanted to ask you for what I call a CEO nugget. So this could be a word of wisdom or piece of advice. It might be something you would tell a client, or if you hopped into a time machine, you might tell your younger business self.
Okay, so what my CEO nugget would be, don't go and hire people just because that's the best you can find. Go and wait for the person that you think, this person is amazing, they are going to do a great job for me. Don't compromise. Once you've got that person in your business, give them clarity. Make sure they really understand what it is that they're there to deliver, and that what good looks like for you as a leader, and then trust them and leave them to it. Be there to support them, but know that they're the expert in that area. Don't be tempted to micromanage. Come on, leaders, go and create some space in your own diary and go and create something else and leave your people to it. So really trust them. And I think that leads into the fact of trust your gut as well. If something doesn't feel right, it's not. So don't try and paper over the cracks. Just go and fix it.
Yeah, absolutely love those nuggets, and I think you hit home on a really strong point that I think so many times we forget as leaders is, that we have a vacancy, or we have maybe a new offering that we want to start to bring on. We want to bring that person in order to do that and make that happen. And we're so quick to want to make sure that happens. We want to turn on that Ferrari engine and go, but a lot of times the hiring and the start of the and onboarding process, so to speak, is really the recruiting and understanding and the research and finding the right person. And because once you take the time to do that, you have that opportunity to create that environment, find the right person, and then to let them just do what they do.
That's right. Get out of their way and let it happen.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think so many times we forget that. So it's a great nugget, and something that we should definitely kind of keep in mind. And so now I wanted to ask you my absolute favorite question, which is the definition of what it means to be a CEO. And we're hoping to have different quote unquote CEOs on the show. So Joanna, what does being a CEO mean to you?
What a CEO means to me is that I'm being trusted with people's livelihoods and people's future careers. It's my job to go and make sure that we can grow the business, that it's scalable, that it's profitable, and it's a really lovely place for people to work. And my job is to make sure that I grow myself so that the people can step into my shoes. I've got to create the vacuum. I've got to grow and get out of people's way so that people can follow me up through the business.
Yeah, and I mean, I feel like your story, resonates with that so well as far as that growth, because I think so many times we forget about the growth, of the company. We often think about that. We forget about the growth of ourselves and how we create that culture and that environment. But so it sounds like you've had that experience.
Yes, absolutely. We've all got to go and do something every day that scares us, don't we?
Mhm.
And no matter how much experience you've got, you've still got to keep putting yourself out there.
Yeah, it's so important to do that because that's where all the magic and the great things happen. So you have to make sure we get outside of our comfort zone. So Joanna, truly appreciate that definition, and I appreciate your time even more. What I wanted to do is pass you the mic, so to speak, just to see if there's anything additional you can let our readers and listeners know, and of course, how best they can get a hold of you and find out about all the awesome things you and your team are working on.
Oh, if anybody loved to talk, I love to talk. I don't know if you can tell. So if anybody wants to have a little chat, that'd be wonderful. My email address is joanna.swash@moneypenny.co.uk. Go and have a look on our website, moneypenny.com, so that you can have a really good look and see how we can help businesses of all sizes. And if you think you've got a problem with your phone calls or your live chats, then we're here to help you. We're the guys to talk to.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely appreciate that. We will have the links and information in the show notes. And so many times we forget, as we talked about before, communication is the name of the game, to be able to communicate with your clients, your potential clients, and keep those, I guess, those lanes open for that to happen. So I definitely appreciate you and your team for making sure that happens, and enabling and empowering so many businesses to be able to communicate well and showcase their brand. So truly appreciate you again, Joanna, and I appreciate your time again. And I hope you have a great rest of the day.
Thank you. It's lovely to meet you.